Hi, it's me, Carmen. Welcome to Book Club. We're going to be discussing Arnold Pacey's book, which is Technology and World Civilization. In my opinion, I really liked the book. It was a bit hard to comprehend because of the organization, but something interesting that I learned was he really focused on the fact that, the West always thought that they were, the best at everything, but in reality, a lot of modern technology had its roots and developed from inventions that came from the East, specifically in China. Amber, why don't you tell us a little bit about agriculture in China?
So I focused a lot more on the agriculture technology and among other technological inventions developed according to population, the weather, and the land of the area. So an example of this would be North and South China. North was dry, it was an irrigated agriculture, and it meant that the farms had to be bigger because the land for farming wasn't as good. So they had a more extensive use of machines, like water wheels, pulleys, gears, and cranks, whereas the South had a wet rice culture. It could cultivate at a smaller level, a smaller scale because the land was better, and it had a less extensive use of machines. So these different inventions were created pertaining to the soil and the land.
I thought it was interesting because the smaller the land and the more population, that's how the water wheel came, and the survival technology they needed to support the entire culture, whereas they didn't really need that before because they didn't have such a high population. But then they need to elaborate their irrigation works in order to support everyone.
So for military and stuff, China seemed to be the leader, and I'm assuming that this was probably because it was a very large country, which meant more population, and also in the fact of more minds to come up with different inventions. China was one of the leaders in gunpowder, and this is even evident in the fact that one of the components for mixturing gunpowder, which was saltpeter, was known as Chinese snow. Gunpowder has been recorded as having been in China since before 900 AD. And then from there, all these inventions kind of got to Europe via Russia from the east. And also, while all of this technological advances were going on as far as military weapons, it eventually turned into other things that had happened. So gunpowder led to guns, which then from there, Eastern countries started coming up with cannons, and then they used metal balls and cannons, and then it eventually led to India and the Turks and the Ottoman Empire, which was one of the biggest exporters of guns and stuff. They started coming up with new inventions for barrels in more efficient ways, and also China came up with catapults and stuff. So gunpowder was a really important invention that led to a lot of other weapons and firearms that each country kind of modified for their own area and inventions.
You were talking about the transfer of inventions, and one of the big parts is hydraulic engineering, and that contributed to the improvements of the canal system. So that was used to transport grain from one place to another.
You had also mentioned hydraulic engineering and stuff, and the invention of canals and whatnot. Whenever ships came about, this also allowed for a transfer of ideas between countries, and this allowed for more rapid advances in technology because people were able to spread their ideas and modify ideas that had already come about, and so things were getting bigger and better. Then ships came about in navies for protection of countries, which then people started inventing different weapons and stuff to be on ships and whatnot. Specifically, after ships came about, so then other countries, not just China, started becoming leaders in their own forms by specializing in a certain technology that they were able to improve, and this had to do a lot with their environment and what was a necessity for them, which is, I think, is really cool how it differs from each country depending on what their needs were. Also, something about gunpowder was, although cannons weren't really effective in like war and whatnot, it was the symbolism of the noise that it made and stuff that showed power. So this is like an intimidation factor, and this eventually like defined like warfare and what it was about, and like how people conquered other countries and whatnot and showed their power. And also,
So you could say that having wars kind of transferred technology, even though that's not a good thing. It was a good thing to transfer the use of gunpowder and everything like that from place to place.
Another thing that helped transfer technology and like the spread of ideas was when we started to, or like the creation of paper and like manufacturing paper. So like once people had access to books, like, and that like ideas became widely available, like ideas with religion and new technology and just like facts that people wouldn't normally have. People got a better education, and people from different countries got others' ideas.
later on in the book, it discusses like the railroad and stuff coming about and ships. So then like transportation also, and like everybody kind of becoming more interconnected, which is what the goal of this class is like globalization, and how we all kind of transfer ideas and just advance our own civilizations in the areas that we live in.
Yeah, each place has their own resources and skills that can contribute one off the other, ideas off the other.
But it really is cool how today in the modern age, we are in like the world of technology. So we have the internet, and we can, instead of using the printing press, we can just type something up really quickly, or how the transfer ideas has totally changed. So from something where you would have to print it out and mail it or like send it far away, you can tweet it in 30 seconds and like everyone will know. It's just very interesting in how the world is continuing to change, and the ideas are getting more and more crazy.